And Myra's not mad at anybody today.
No, not at all.
She is
No,
in
peace and love
paradise.
all around the
So
world, and ay.
there you go. There you go. So let's talk about all of the things. Of course, we know, and we're going to talk about the Chauvin convictions from yesterday. But as the convictions were coming down, there was a horrible shooting of a teenage girl in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Columbus police have released additional body cam video showing 16-year-old Makia Bryant lunging at another young woman with a knife before she was fatally shot by a police officer. During the press conference, the chief of police, Michael Woods, identified the officer who shot Bryant as Nicholas Reardon, revealed he has been on the force only since December of 2019. They released 3 body camera recordings along with 2 911 calls. And one of the calls, a frantic young woman is heard begging an emergency operator to send an officer to an address on the east side of Columbus on Tuesday afternoon. They sent the policemen, they had some difficulties in trying to figure out what was going on. And as it turns out, Makia Bryant was living in a foster home. Two
Mm.
women, she got into an argument with 2 women and lunged at them with a knife as the police were there. And the policeman shot her 4 times and killed 16-year-old Makia Bryant. So we have this video that we've been seeing and how horrific and all of that. I'm not sure if we have the video from the body cam. But as we have seen with all too often, we've seen people at the point of death with George Floyd, and we saw that 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Just want you to take a look at this young girl. And I think not to take away from the horrific situation and what this policeman has done to this girl, but also for us to take a look at Makia in happier moments.
Mm.
And this is off of TikTok. um, I love the fact that she's like a teenager working on her hair, getting the baby hair just right,
Yep.
and as her mom said, has posted today, "Fly high in heaven, baby girl, rest in heaven, Makia Bryant," and that is the sad reality that she is today, doing just that, but away from all of this. Before we go any further. As I mentioned very quickly, Myra is in paradise, and you can hear the waterfall in paradise. And so that is what folks are hearing. At
I've asked the water to hold it down because I'm trying to broadcast. We'll see.
So what I'm going to do when she's not talking,
Okay.
I'm going to mute it.
Okay.
There
All
you
right.
go.
So okay, that sounds good. That sounds good right there. All right. So also, as we mentioned, and I don't know where you guys were. We did not talk yesterday afternoon. J. Anthony Brown was on with us yesterday, and we were talking about the Chauvin verdicts that came down. Verdicts, the 3 charges, guilty charges. If you guys want to share anything, and we also have a tweet from President Obama regarding this. So, Stephen Hill, you want to take this?
Where are we going to start, in Columbus or in Minneapolis?
You can start with Makia in
Okay.
Columbus.
And this, of course, is the origin of my yep, y'all gonna be mad at me again, because I am looking at this. I admit fully, I am looking at this only from the point of view of the mother of the daughter that did not get stabbed.
Mm.
Full stop. That's it. I've looked at that video. Jaden and I, my faithful ward and I have looked at it, and he asked a great question. Was he close enough to physically stop with his hands?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't. Did he have a taser? I don't know, but a taser would not have stopped that motion. It's an unfortunate situation, and I've seen that TikTok go around, but she was also the girl who had a knife, who was stabbing, who was ready to stab someone, full stop. You can argue about the 4-time shooting. Okay, you can argue about that, but like, if I am the mother of the daughter of the girl that did not get stabbed to death because the policeman shot that girl, there's not just one way to look. All I'm saying is there's not just one way to look at this. I think it's horribly sad, but like, Makia was going to stab another person, full stop. Now, the more we try to gloss over that and put this into the George Floyd and this is horrible police brutality, I think that's a dangerous way for us to go, because that is your daughter, your son about to be harmed, and the police pause, you're going to be mad because the police didn't take action. Full stop.
Okay. I have not seen the video. I had some technical difficulties earlier. I have not seen the video, but from what I've read and what I heard Stephen say, it's the police. They are to serve and protect. If someone is being threatened, I believe that their first job is to protect. Again, I have not seen the video, but if it is a case where she was about to stab someone, then she needed to be stopped. Did she need to be shot 4 times? Probably not. Once again, I haven't seen the video, but we have to understand that people have to be held accountable. You cannot come up to people stabbing them,
Right.
and expect no harm to come to you.
Right.
That's just the front and back of it, whether you're 16 or 62.
Right.
Let's just tell the truth and shame the devil. It's a shame that this baby is gone. It's a damn shame.
Yes.
But she should not, if she was not stabbing someone.
Yvonne Taylor is asking, so her life is lesser than the one she may have stabbed in her own yard. This situation is quite complicated, in that this is a part of a foster home situation where Makia was living. And so there are a number of different relationships and challenges, I believe, that were a part of this living situation, in that she had to call her grandmother and her mother to the foster home where she's being kept there, or where she is staying. And so there's so many unanswered questions here. And once again, we're talking about a situation in which perhaps, I'm not saying that a social worker or someone in human and mental health services could have stopped this, but may have interceded in a way that perhaps lives could have been saved. And I'm talking about the girls that she was going for, that she was in the fight with, the women, as well as herself.
But would we?
I used to work in, and I used to be a child abuse investigator. That was my job. If there was a case in the home where the child needed to be removed, we would call the police, and sometimes vice versa. But if there is a violent situation happening at that moment, the police can't stop and say, well, let me call Child Protective Services.
Right.
They have to handle the situation that's going on right there.
Right.
I gotta address these people who like shoot in the leg. Please understand, I'm not okay, and I'm not defending police training.
Right.
But and if police are on here, police are trained to hit center mass because that's the place you're most likely to get a hit. They're aimed not for a heart, but they're aimed to hit center mass. So there's no shooting in the leg. Like, you watch too much television if you want to go for the shoot for the leg. You get to shoot for the leg from 50. You can shoot the leg from 15 feet away on TV because you get to do another take. It doesn't happen like that in real life in the moment. I get the social services part. I get all that. But look how, when you don't look at the slow motion video, look at how fast all of this happens. And I want, look, and I just, it's not always people of color. People who get shot by the police, and there are fewer white folks, but white folks are not getting shot in the legs either. They're getting shot center mass. There's fewer of them. I want to be clear. I'm not defending it. That's the training. The training is center mass.
Okay, well then let's change that training.
I'm fine with that, but like all this shooting in the leg, people watching too much Mannix.
Mannix. Oh my God.
I was told to bring, whenever I could, possibly bring some ha-ha. Mannix brings the ha-ha.
Mannix. You might as well say Jake and the Fat Man.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the aftermath of the reading of the verdict yesterday in the Chauvin trial and case in the murder of George Floyd. President Obama tweeted out this statement. Today, a jury did the right thing, but true justice requires much more. Michelle and I send our prayers to the Floyd family, and we stand with all those who are committed to guaranteeing every American the full measure of justice that George and so many others have been denied. He tweeted that out yesterday, obviously, and people are still talking about their feelings and really the relief. It's more so on the part of white people. As much as Black people, in that justice was served, because there were a lot of scared white people if this had gone the other way, the convictions, as opposed to Barnaby Jones. Why not?
I was gonna go with Barnaby Jones. It was between, in my head, as I started that sentence, it's gonna be Barnaby Jones or Mannix. Barnaby Jones or Mannix. Mannix used a gun. I swear to you.
I wasn't thinking Jake and the Fat Man. I was thinking Cannon.
I
said Jake and the Fat Man, but all TV shows of my childhood that my mother dearly loved.
William Conrad
as
Cannon.
Yes, big ball rolling down the.
That's right. Fine ass Gail Fisher. Right. Brian Scott Mannix. Fine ass.
Mannix. Remember that Gail
Go
Fisher.
Jay.
Peggy Fair was her name, her character's name.
Oh, nice. I wouldn't have gotten that one from anywhere.
Thank you very much. So Mannix, yikes. What about Kojak? Okay.
Who loves you, baby?
Where's the lollipop?
By the way, if you give me 30 seconds, I'll be right there.
We're gonna take it back. Let's take it all the way back.
I need to make a quick mention of Daunte Wright, the young man who was killed a weekend before last by the policewoman from Brooklyn Center. They had the viewing today, this afternoon from 2 to 6, and the homegoing service will be tomorrow. This is an example of the program, the cover of the program, of young, sweet Daunte Wright. And of course, Reverend Al will be there. He has been there as they were awaiting, the end of the Chauvin trial, and he is there, and he will be delivering the eulogy tomorrow in the life of Daunte Wright and eulogizing him. Now, I want to end this because I think we're right on time here. I want to end this with a salute and with a look to the future and a thank you, atta girl, you keep up the good work, to the young woman who's been called the photojournalist of the century, Darnella Frazier.
Don't have that. We'll come back.
Okay, we'll come back. Darnella obviously is the young woman who bravely took the video of George Floyd at the knee of Derek Chauvin. That was the turning point for this case. Had it not been for Darnella, I don't believe that this would have happened. And she is just a miraculous, a miracle in itself, and all of the things that she took in this year, as well as taking the stand and giving her testimony as how this all went. All right, so now it's time for our trending video. Now, yesterday was 420. Yesterday was 420, Myra and Stephen Hill, meaning that was a celebration of those who use the wacky tobacco, who use weed, who use pot, if you will, a little THC. And so but all of the celebrations were
Does
just
that
kind of
include
put
reefer?
reefer. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That was probably also
You're
mentioned on
hilarious.
Gunsmoke, Myra.
Yes.
But all of the celebrations I think that were planned were kind of thrown off by the exuberance of people's reactions to the Chauvin trial and what happened there. So we're gonna give a little bit of a light moment here.
Wow, that's Snoop Dogg, the Godfather. I hit that blunt, I'm going to see the father. Damn, Earth was cool. Oh, this gas 93 octane. God, take me now. Hey, cool it. He got another one sparked already. He being unreasonable. This beyond me if he think I'm finna hit that blunt again. Heavens no, I'm high, bucko. I'm puzzled. I'm finna give it right back to him and tell him I hit it 10 times already. I'm finna call 911 and report an attempted murder. He keep passing me blunts. He think we in a relay race. What a bummer. I'm finna put this out, and if he asks why, I'ma tell him I'm allergic to marijuana. Weed for me stand for with each exhale, I'm about to die. He gotta knock it off. I done already took 2 blunts. He done sparked a third one. Smoke monster. I'm finna play sleep. I'm comatose. Big fella, you took that blunt to the head? Now you finna be in the nearest hospital bed. This ain't the move.
So it's time. I'm sorry. Should I?
No.
What?
Yes.
How can I say this? So
Directly.
This was in. Oh, by the way, and it was legal because it was in Amsterdam. So I feel comfortable saying that. My very first time ever, I got it passed to me by Snoop.
Wow.
And I was really ready to. I was ready to go my whole life without ever doing it. This is I can't believe it. I was ready to go my whole life. He was on tour. I was over in Amsterdam. We were blah, blah, blah. And it was backstage after a show. And he sparked it up and he handed it to me. And I said, if I'm ever going to do it, I need to do it right now so I can say, my first time was, yes.
Puff, puff, pass from Snoop.
I won't go into detail, but I swear to you, this is not a joke. There's a part of that night I don't remember. All of a sudden, I was running down the street holding somebody's hand who I had no idea. No. There was a group of us. But all of a sudden, I was walking down the street in the middle of Amsterdam holding somebody's hand I didn't know. That is a true story.
Wow.
Legal in Amsterdam, by the way. Legal in Amsterdam.
Yeah. You said like a half dozen times. Yeah.
Much respect to you getting it from the Grand Poobah.
Yeah. It's the only reason. Literally the only reason. Well, yes.
Myra, do you know how he got its name 420?
Isn't that the day that it became legal?
No.
In some places? No? What?
I thought it was the name of the proposition that made it legal in LA.
No.
Early on, you got 4 joints for $20. No?
Early on,
back in the day. Look, some of y'all remember the nickel bag came in the little go. Okay, I'm saying to you.
420, from what I understand, is the time that kids would meet after school to light up. After they finished, or maybe getting out of suspension or detention or whatever. That's the time that they arranged to meet.
Froze. Am I knocked off?
No, we still got you. You froze.
But
we still hear you.
Just keep going and catch up.
Yeah. So, by the way, Brian Scott, the answer to your question is yes. You can keep going. I just want to let Brian know the answer was yes, 100%. Sure enough. Keep going.
No, Brian what did Brian ask? Steve?
I forget.
Stephen, was the lady fine?
That was just between me and Brian. Like that was literally just between me and Brian.
Oh, speaking of which I will ask you, but I do want to know about the Stevens last night. I just want to talk about the Steves last night at some point. We will talk about that. It
was like the movie Memento. It literally was like the movie Memento. Like, why am I running? Am I running from? Oh no, I'm running to this.
And who is this beautiful woman whose hand I'm holding?
Whose hand am I holding? Did I know her before? Is she leading me or am I leading her? What's?
And where did this lead to?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Went out. What'd you say?
Where did the splendor in the grass lead to?
Nowhere. It was candidly, it was just a very friendly evening. She could not have been a nicer person, and we stayed in like text contact. But it was just it was a friendly thing. But it was just that moment. Hey.
And how old was Kim Kardashian at the time? How old were you the first time you smoked weed?
40.
Wow.
45, 43, 45, 40,
wow. So
40, 43, 43.
So just a couple of years ago. Okay.
And you haven't looked back.
And never again. Never. You said this was my one time, and so I will never. Or
in case my mother is listening, that is true.
I hear you, player. That's true. That is true. Okay, hopefully Myra will join us and we'll get Stephen Hill off the hot seat.
See if Jaden's got questions. Hold on. Jaden's here. I forgot about that. Wait. Oh, never mind. He's indisposed. We good. All right, never mind.
Okay. Let's talk about and we can go back to the Chauvin conversation about from the What You Need to Know newsletter. As we had to change our whole newsletter practically yesterday as the Chauvin guilty verdicts came down on all counts in the murder trial. The jury of 7 women, 5 men deliberated for more than 10 hours over 2 days and guilty on the charge of second-degree unintentional murder, meaning that he significantly assaulted George Floyd and death occurred as a result when he caused his death. The maximum sentence there is 40 years. He was guilty on the charge of third-degree murder, and the prosecution proved that Chauvin killed George Floyd by perpetrating an act imminently dangerous to others and evincing a depraved mind without regard for human life. The maximum sentence there is 25 years. And guilty of second-degree manslaughter requires the prosecutors to prove that Derek Chauvin's negligent actions created an unreasonable risk of death or great bodily harm. And the maximum sentence there is 10 years. In about 4 to 8 weeks, he will be sentenced. Right now, he is separated from the mass population as they, handcuffed him, and he had his lawyer's phone number written in ink on his hand as he was being led out, and the bail was remanded. So now
here's the thing, though, if I'm not mistaken, right? So at the end of the trial, the judge was like, okay, the lawyer asked Chauvin questions, which basically said, you can throw out the rule book on sentencing. We're going to leave it at the mercy of the judge. So even though 40 is the top, the judge, if he finds aggressive or it was extra aggressive, could actually book him for more than 40 years. Yeah. Right. So he basically gave the judge permission to give him as much time as the judge thinks is right.
Absolutely. And they're talking about what's the median sentence and things like that. But you're absolutely right. And that was something I was going to bring up, is that this is really at the judge's discretion. And so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. And as I said, in 4 to 8 weeks there, probably in a couple of months, the sentence will be laid down. And then how much longer after that will the appeal be filed? Mm-hmm. And will he get another attorney? It's that guy, Eric, just was pitiful. But how do you defend that? I mean, who was raising their hand to defend Derek Chauvin?
No.
You make one weed joke and they knock you off the air. Really?
That's funny.
Really? I thought we was cool like that.
Yeah.
Man. One.
Myra, can you turn your camera?
This here way?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is better, huh?
Wait. It'll
I'll match up for you. I'm good.
Oh, shoot.
And it should
adjust.
It must be unlocked.
It's locked. Yeah. Your phone.
It's locked.
Is your phone locked?
Probably.
Okay.
Then never mind.
Then turn
Can
it.
I turn myself the other way?
Yes.
Good, because I was getting dizzy and my boobies. What
And
did
I'm
we say?
surprised.
When in doubt, plop a boobie out. It was all.
Stephen Hill.
Let me keep hanging upside down like that. It's gonna be a whole different show. And there's the music.
And there's the music. Be careful with the music. We don't want the music police to come in here.
No.
So here we have in our second story in the What You Need to Know newsletter, prominent white figures calling for an end to police shootings. Last week, we had video of Pat Robertson saying, from his show and criticizing the cases of police brutality, calling the shootings an onslaught of violence against Black Americans, blaming the low-paid force consisting of not the best and not the brightest. In one conversation, he gave his opinion on Derek Chauvin and the recent arrest of, as we know, this young man in Virginia, the Lieutenant Caron Nazario. And so all of these conversations and others have come in. One of my favorites is John Oliver, host of HBO's Last Week Tonight. And during his monologue about the police shootings, he called on white people to stand in solidarity with Black America. This is what is being said all the time, but definitely, I guess you're not going to believe it till you hear it from an Englishman. And so now we have him saying that,
if we're going to be honest, that used to be the Joyner show motto. So there's that.
Not going to believe it till you hear it from the white man. That's right. Truly. And so one other person is Chris Cuomo on his TV show. He said, when white people's kids start getting killed, that's when things will change.
That's when people start taking the drug war seriously.
Yeah.
Folks wasn't caring when it was Black folks. As soon as meth, opioids is the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
because Chad and Thor were getting it.
On Facebook said Pat surprised her as well. But you're right, Stephen Hill. That is absolutely what, and the opioid crisis, as you say.
Years ago, I said that's a crisis. And no, an epidemic is something that happens to rich people. Because it had been a problem. Drugs had been a problem in Black and brown communities, but it wasn't until the soccer moms and Biff and all of them got hooked on it, and all of a sudden, we have this crisis. And I don't wish anything negative on anyone, but if certain segments of politicians get shot, then we're going to have a gun crisis in this country, and something needs to be done about it.
So Myra, here's the thing. Think back a couple of springs ago when members of the United States Congress were practicing for their baseball game. Remember, Steve, I can't remember, Scalia of New Orleans, he got shot, and it was serious, and they still didn't do anything. They didn't. We had white people storming the Bastille a couple of months ago, and they still have not done anything. As a matter of fact, they're denying it.
But they were storming it for them.
Right, they weren't the victims.
Right.
So what about with Scalia in Louisiana and his I'm sorry. Say his name again.
I think Scalise.
Scalise. Okay, I was thinking the Supreme Court Justice. Sorry. Steve Scalise. Thank you. So why didn't they do anything then? A high-ranking Republican
wasn't
in
enough
the United States Congress.
They're like, one got to take one for the team.
Wow.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. Okay. All right. Steve Scalise. Okay. Sorry. And he didn't die. So, there you have it. This coronavirus thing. Oh, go ahead, Yolanda. Let's see one more person. They are afraid of the NRA. But the NRA is broken.
I know.
So what can they do? What can they do to them? They don't have money to give them. So will they finally stand up to the NRA when they aren't getting campaign contributions?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The answer to me is no. The NRA is all going to be strong somehow. Somebody's going to give the NRA money. The NRA is never, look, Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. Until someone makes what amendment are we up to? 30 something?
Yeah.
Until they decide that, enough people have been killed. and make another amendment to take out the Second Amendment, which is an antiquated and outdated amendment, unless we still believe the British are coming.
Well, I'd welcome that right now, especially with the family, the the royal family so messed up.
Yep.
My point about Scalise and about if 20-something white children and teachers were killed and nobody did anything about that, I think that Chris Cuomo is making a good point. But when you think about those babies who were killed by their own in their classrooms, that's right. That's what
Sandy
I'm
Hook.
saying, Brenda. That's exactly what I'm saying. Sandy Hook, it didn't change a damn thing, and nothing will. Brenda McCutcheon says that on Facebook. And
Okay.
I just...
So did it change nothing, or didn't change everything? What I mean by that is, and I'm not sure this is true, but I believe there's been a progression of restrictions and or categories of guns that have been made kind of, you can't use these anymore, slowly but surely, right? And I'm saying it's not. Look, I think the Second Amendment needs to be taken out by the 30-something amendment. But it does feel like after Las Vegas, those, what are they called? Stock. Like
Shutter. Is it shutters?
Some kind of stock. You know, shutter stock is
stock.
where you go on the line and get all the cute backgrounds. That's shutter stock. But it's some kind of stock. It's some kind of stock.
Yeah.
So when these things happen, you know, a little while later, there's a different kind of assault rifle that's taken off the market. But it's not enough, because people still keep getting killed by things that you don't need to protect your house with. 30-something amendment is going to take the 30-something amendment, and it's going to take a horrific tragedy to get that happen.
I don't know.
Yep.
How much more horrific are we talking? I don't know. I don't understand.
I don't think we've seen it yet.
No.
That's the sad part. We haven't seen
No.
it yet.
Michael Stalwart said, I think it was Larry King said the Second Amendment was originally about putting down uprisings against slavery. Yeah, I've heard that. I heard him say that years ago too. Larry King did say that, and probably, you know, they figured they would keep using guns against us for the rest of our time.
If we're going to be honest, that was probably just a happy byproduct as opposed to the reason given the late 1700s, right? You really want to make sure that you have guns in enough homes that if the British come back over, we can send them suckers back. And as a healthy byproduct, we can keep the slaves.
Or were they afraid of the engines, as they said on Gunsmoke?
Yeah, that too. Anything. So those two things, I think the British and the engines have in common, was a threat to their land, a threat to their expansion, and a threat to land. That's always going to be a challenge for, historically. I don't want to get Nick Cannon, but that's an historical. It's an historical challenge. The desire to not necessarily create our own culture, but take somebody else's culture, call it our own, and their land. Is just not new to this.
Appropriation.
Not even new to this half. Not even new to this half a millennium.
Right.
But I digress.
Okay. Let's talk coronavirus, shall we? People are they're still concerned about folks not going to get their vaccines, especially in the South. Old white people in the South, young white people in the South, all God's white children in the South, not going to get their coronavirus vaccines. But the pharmacies aren't helping things. At a Walgreens pharmacy in Monroe, North Carolina, had to contact patients after mistakenly administering shots of saline instead of the vaccines last month. So they had to do some contact tracing. And of course, saline solutions are used to help train medical professionals. And 22 customers, they say, were not harmed by the mistake that occurred March 20th. Now, this is the second mix-up of a number of people who went to a clinic at a Virginia Kroger to receive the COVID-19 vaccines. They were mistaken. And I don't get this. We have done this story twice, and I still don't understand how you get an empty syringe. If you get an empty syringe, they're putting air in your veins. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Wait. Who's got an empty syringe?
This is what they said happened to people in Virginia at this Kroger. They went to get their vaccines, and they were mistakenly given empty syringes. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It does not.
All the
Saline
impact,
and it makes sense.
right?
Empty don't
Right.
make no sense.
Empty is scary. Saline, that's not good,
No.
No.
but empty,
Yeah.
empty is very, very
Yeah.
scary. All right, Stephen Hill, your boy is free. Kanye West is out on the trail, on the Dayton Trail,
No.
and
No, you're just
no,
saying that.
no, well, you know, the divorce and all that kind of stuff. And he says now, this is not what we have in the newsletter, but I just thought about this. He says that he wants to date an artist now. An artist understands artists. I think that's just crazy, meat and crazy. I'm not sure that's a good mix or a blend. But he says that his next date or his next girlfriend or perhaps wife will be an artist. I don't know that that's a good combo. Do you?
It depends. I've said
Okay.
it here. I've said here in many other places. Of all the people I work with, Kanye is on the top tier of people who are true artists and think the way artists think, and they don't think linear like non-artists, like I or me or you do. And I don't.
Well, you're an
and I said
artist,
before.
too.
Well, no, but not okay. Not like Kanye. I have an attitude of an artist. I'm not a real artist. I have the attitude and where's my chocolate mocha latte of an artist. I don't have the talent of an artist. But someone has the talent of Kanye. I don't want them thinking like I do, right? Van Gogh didn't think linearly. That's why he cut his freaking hair off.
Say what?
Right? Mozart didn't think linear. That's why he was crazy. Kanye doesn't think like your true artist. Very few of your Prince was by no means thought linear. I want my artist thinking differently. That said, should an artist be with an artist? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. I think just to deal in this world, you need at least one sane person in the relationship. And you got two who are just so, focused on the art. And I don't know that that's a good thing. But there are probably contrary examples of that have worked. I don't know.
I want everybody to be happy, though. I want everybody to be happy. Everybody should be happy.
So he may be a mad scientist, but according to the headline, but his Yeezy brand is brilliant. There are two major partnerships with celebrities, and Ivy Park, of course, Beyonce, and the forefront of fashion and culture for both new and younger audiences. And they say that the Gap is hoping to capitalize off the culture and Kanye's $3.4 billion to $4.7 billion Yeezy brand brilliance. And they are saying that this combination of the Gap and his artistry is going to make a big difference. And of course, this is a man who says that he was once $16 million in debt, and now he's worth over $6.5 billion.
So Yeezy built the Yeezy brand first with another brand, and then with Adidas,
right?
And built it to be, if not arguably the most coveted brand, maybe brand Jordan, but since I'm in the 21st century, really Yeezy is the most desired brand among those who love sneakers and that kind of wear. So when it came time to do a deal with Gap wanted to your point, wanted to get some of that. And so I thought, you need to understand, Kanye's deal with the Gap is gigantic. In return for getting the creative from, I'm sorry, I saw T.Y.O. Dimples' avatar looks just like Sita from Sita's World. In order, it really does. It took me out for a minute. So in order to get next to it, Gap gave Kanye owns a significant amount of the Gap's stock, right? So this was not about selling to the Gap. It was really about partnering, and in success, and Gap is going to have success.
Yeah. And they
Kanye wins. So it was a shrewd business move. So kudos to that as well.
And that's where you need a business person to help you, and not so much the artistic. All right, Stephen Hill, our question of the day is dedicated to you and Myra, and I hope that Myra is able to get back on with us because 5 years ago today, as you know, we lost the creative and the one and only Prince. It was First of all, it's so hard to believe that it's been 5 years. But I wanted to ask you and Myra, you are the #1 Prince aficionado. Your favorite Prince song and or memory that you'd like to share with us. And we also have something from his, and while you think about this, whatever you want to share, I want you to see this interview that he did with Arsenio Hall.
Always. And here's the interesting thing. Do you have a cell phone? No. See, I'm always shocked when I hear from you. But how do you survive in this world without a cell phone?
Everybody I know has one.
Oh.
That wasn't the piece that I was thinking about, but because he was talking about his favorite song, and he said it was The Breakdown.
So it's one of my favorites as well. To me, that's his last great song, which talks about a little bit about how he was when he first got in the business and how he's changed. It has got it's hard for me to talk that. The Breakdown by Prince. If you can check it out, you should just check it out. To me, it's just it's his last great song. Like I have so many lovely memories. I'm gonna have to go with Adore being my favorite Prince song. That may change. Sign of the Times is my favorite Prince album
of all time.
No question. From the stark beginning of Sign of the Times to the lush ending of Adore, it's just a spectacular ride. But my favorite Prince story, and loopers who are on here have heard this story a number of times. Was there was a party at his house? He had parties at his house in L.A. He was in L.A. He had a series of houses, and he'd have a party, and the stage, it wouldn't be a stage, it would just be like in the living room. And so it was like the floor and then the speakers, and then you just step over the speakers and you're on what is the stage, but it's just really like the living room floor. And so I was at the front where I usually am. People like to talk at the parties too, and that's cool, that's great. But once the music is on, that's the thing. Right. And so I'm standing there, and a woman, he was working with a woman named Tamar. He's on guitar. And they start playing Play That Funky Music, White Boy. And Tamar says, does anybody in the crowd know that song? And I put my hand up right in front, like, yeah, I do. And she said, come up up here. And she says, what's your name? And I'm about to say my name. And Prince goes, Stephen Hill. This is going to be fun. And he gives that smirk.
Wow.
And he says, you know the words of Play That Funky Music? Yes. And they sing it. So they start, play that, say, where's the groovy singer, playing in a rock and roll band. I never had a problem rolling down the one. So I played the whole first verse, and then play that funky music, white boy, play that funky music, right? And the band is just jamming, lay down the boogie and play that funky music. And I remember exactly what I said. I turned to my right and said, to play that funky music till you die. Till you die. Hey, Prince, why don't you play one of those nasty guitar solos for me right now? He looked at me. He looked at me. And then he looked at me like, what the? And then he gave me a smirk, and then he stomped on that pedal and gave what at that moment was the second best guitar solo I'd ever heard him do. There's never going to be a guitar solo better than the one he did for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. Never, but he laid that guitar solo on. And you know what I did? You know what I did as he was playing the guitar solo? Myra and Sybil, I stepped off the stage because it was never going to get better than that. It was never. I'm not going to sing verse 2. Why am I going to sing? I'm not singing verse 2. I'm going to step off the stage and let the music go. But it is my favorite of a number of Prince moments. Including being able to interview him in 2004, which all you have to do, by the way, is type into YouTube best Prince interview.
And there you are. There you are.
Type into YouTube best Prince interview. You see your boy.
Holla at your boy. That is brilliant. That is
absolutely.
And knowing when to step off the stage. My God.
Oh yeah.
How many people recognize that and say, hey.
That's right.
Myra, you are probably the second biggest Prince fan that I know. And just wondering if you have a favorite song or memory.
My was when I met Prince. And our producer, Yolanda, may remember this. During the time when he had put Slave on his face, he wanted to have a meeting with Tom. And Tom was like, I can't come up there. He says, I'm going to come to you. So he came to Chicago.
Yep.
He was running late, and I am a big Thunderbirds fan, and the Thunderbirds were going to be flying. So I'm down on Lake Michigan.
This is for the Air and Water Show.
Right.
Mhm.
Looking at the air show. Yolanda calls me going, "Where are you?" "He's here." So, you
and
know
Yolanda's
me.
going, "Hello, Mr. Prince."
I remember I had on a red linen dress and I wasn't trying to be cute. I hiked that dress up and was running down Michigan Avenue. To get there, I knock on the door. His people let me in. I'm sweaty and I'm out of breath. And Prince turned to me and said, "Would you like a glass of orange juice?" And he proceeded to pour me a glass of orange juice. And our boss was sitting there and he mouths to me, "Would you drink the goddamn juice?" Because I was holding the glass like a phallic symbol. Like, oh my God, he poured me orange juice. Yeah.
And what about listening to an album that was never released?
That album that we listened to.
The album that you guys listened to.
Yes.
It had the beat.
It had the heartbeat
beat of his unborn child.
Oh, the Emancipation album. That was now I get my nerd on. That was in 1996. It was in 1996, right before October of '96, because that was the album that eventually came out as his 3 album set called Emancipation. And had the heartbeat of his unborn child on there. He did a remake of If God Were One of Us. But yeah, 1996. I'm sorry. Nerd, back into the bowl.
That's my favorite Prince song.
Stephen Prince, Rain Man. Yeah. That's great. That's really great. You guys, and I knew this was the perfect day for you guys to be on here and to Myra. So song.
What if God was one of us?
What if God was one of us?
Yeah. Wasn't popular, but I saw him perform that live, and it just gave me chills. It really
did. Yeah. How long was the meeting? Do you remember?
It was long enough for that orange juice to turn warm.
And was that the only thing that was still warm?
Nope.
Little condensation on the glass. Little condensation on the glass.
Yes,
and on the earth. Okay. So last night, a lot of people forgot, but you did not. The two Steves, talking about entertainment. The two Steves had the pre and post performance of the Verzuz battle between Method Man and Redman.
Yeah, that was so much fun. It was not a Verzuz. It was the first one where they didn't go back and forth because Redman and Method Man, of course, have been performing together for a long time. And it was just a celebration of hip hop from like 94 to 2004. Like just, Redman, Method Man, part of the Wu-Tang came out. Keith Murray came out. EPMD came out. Like, you got to understand, like, if you know, this is a big deal, especially EPMD. So it was a great night for 70s, early aughts hip hop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, lots of fun.
And I love the two Steves, and I saw the post show, and you guys were just, and at one point you were just inviting people to come on and to talk with you. And
Affion Crockett came on. Affion came on.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
We had a good time. We love Affion.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Affion on because he's doing he's brilliant. He's just puzzling. Yeah. And for people who don't know, Myra J probably gave Affion one of his early jobs, casting him on It's Your World.
Oh
yes, he played Scooter.
Yeah, Scooter Wells.
Yes, It's Your World. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
That's cool. So, Steve, what do you think about the? When's the next one? Is it Mother's Day? The next, Steve. Okay. All right. Okay.
We're doing tag team disappearing acts.
Okay. That was the weirdest of all. Usually with you. Oh, okay. Maybe he's coming back in a costume or something. He's Power. Okay. Myra,
yes.
You okay? You okay, Steve? Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Myra. A lot of folks are talking about even with the victory. I guess you call it a victory yesterday in the conviction of Derek Chauvin, people are still talking about moving out of this country, and because of the violence and because of the police and all that goes on with it. And one of Stephen Hill's favorite people, Dave Chappelle, has announced that he's probably going to join Stevie Wonder in moving out of the United States and moving to a country in Africa. What are your thoughts on that, Stephen Hill?
Wouldn't be his first time.
Right.
No, look, I think maybe for different reasons, but I think a lot of people have realized they don't have to live where they thought they had to live during COVID and during this last year and a quarter. I wouldn't be surprised if that had something to do with the idea that, you can move anywhere. And, some people just don't want to be in America no more. And I understand that as well.
Yeah. And it's not as if you can't perform and do all in today's age and do all your things, as we have learned this last year. You can do anything from anywhere, practically, and still be this brilliant performer that you are. But you had an opportunity to see him this summer, right? This past summer.
Yes. Pre in Ohio when he was doing the shows in Ohio, and that was the first place I ever went where there was just a great COVID protocol. I know it broke down towards the end, but like he said, he was going to give it a shot. He didn't want to just stand by idly and was willing to put the money into it and the resources into it to try to make people have a good time and hear his words. And look, I think he's just one of the, he is, the 60s had Dick Gregory, right? Who was equal parts comedian and truth teller. And I think it's true with Dave Chappelle now.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, did you hear the prosecution do a Richard Pryor joke during his closing the other day?
No.
Which one?
Okay. Just.
Do we have it?
No.
But you gonna believe me or your lying eyes?
Thank you. Yolanda says that the prosecutor asked at one point of the jury, who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Oh, okay.
No. See, I find it hard to believe that this middle-aged white man was quoting a Richard Pryor joke, but Yolanda said.
Well, after much research, Richard Pryor actually got it from Macho Grouch.
Oh, Groucho Marx. Okay, so Yolanda did.
I'm sorry.
Research.
No. I'm sorry. We have to go back. Did she really say Marco Grouch?
Yeah.
Right.
She's a little dyslexic. Then.
I wanted to make sure that my ears weren't dyslexic. I just to make sure.
Yeah. Wow. Say the magic word.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, because we've been having this conversation for the last couple of days. All right, we do have a picture of the young woman who has been described now as the photojournalist of this century. Darnella Frazier is her name. She is a young woman who bravely took on the horrible task of chronicling what happened in the last 9 minutes and 29 seconds of George Floyd's life. And they're actually doing, I think they're cash apping and suggesting that people cash app her because I guess she's getting ready to go to college and
cool.
start her life. And it just seems like a much better way of a GoFundMe or a Cash App situation than some of the other things that we've seen. So if you are in mind to.
I'm in. Do we know what her Cash App is?
I will go look on her. I want to say on her Instagram. Somebody will be able to look it up right quick. But it definitely. I just want to commend this young woman. All right, like I said,
Thank you for sharing that.
We've had a lot of heavy moments today. I mean, every day. But I like to leave with something a little lighter and brighter. And so, like you.
The fact that Chauvin's going to have a hard time in jail, that's funny to me. Don't drop the soap, and it's all liquid soap.
That's our Stephen Hill. All right, so let's take a look at this lighter moment that I have been
Okay, me and my stick friend, we gonna get around on this side. Me and my stick friend, we inseparable. We both gonna get around on this side. Just need to, damn it! All right, let me stand here and reflect, get my thoughts together. Maybe if I look at the water, I'll get an epiphany, Oh, I think I got an epiphany. Here we go. All right, restructure, reroute, Bring my top feet in first. Bring my top feet in first. Bring it around on that side. And then, you see it?
The best thing ever.
I so love that. I absolutely.
By the way,
Yeah,
I would
Tony
have enjoyed that. I enjoyed Tony Baker. That's hot. But let's be clear. If that had been on mute, I would have enjoyed it just as much. That dog thought it all the way through. And for a moment, if you notice, for a moment was like, maybe if I back up. Maybe I back up. You know, like there's a moment the dog turned around. I was like, is this dog gonna back up through here? What?
Genius.
Oh,
So, as you know, I have a love of dogs, and definitely my love of dogs has been just taken to another level by being here at the White House and with Ramsey and Lawler. But that I love, we've had dogs, dogs that you think you're going to get and dogs that you actually get. And then this one with the dog figuring it out. And it was just, I love all that stuff. And that brings lightness to my day. That and watching old Cannon and Mannix reruns.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Gail Fisher helped me
That's
through
a smart
puberty.
dog, but not everybody had smart dogs.
Myra, what did you have?
We just had dogs. We just had dogs who would be like, just don't throw us in front of a car. Can the dog? Look,
Was it King? Was the dog's name King?
of course, we had a German Shepherd named King.
Hilarious.
Of course, we did. My mama never bought dog food. The dog ate what we ate after we was tired of it, or it wasn't gonna eat.
Right.
Period.
You scraped the plates into
scraped
the bowl.
it off, or she would take the leftovers and throw everything in the same pot and cook it, and you would come in like, "Ooh, what's that? This is for the dogs," and she would literally make dog stew, and that was pretty much it. But our dogs couldn't do a darn thing. They wouldn't bring the paper. They wasn't gonna bite nobody. We got one dog. The doctor said we had her neutered too early. And she literally, I think she had a psychological thing because she became a cat in her mind. Seriously. After she came back from the clinic, she would not try to jump the fence, but let a bird come up in that tree. She would lose her freaking mind. And she would chase mice outside and bring the mouse inside like, I have a treat for you today. I caught a mouse for you.
Yeah. Was her name Lady?
It was. Shut up. It was.
No.
Lady and King.
Lady and King. Absolutely.
Those are the names in our neighborhood.
Lady and King.
You're making this up as you go along. No.
Seriously.
Lady the mouse catcher.
And then finally we had one that was supposed to be a pedigree, and but poor thing, she had arthritis, as we found out. So the legs wouldn't grow, but the head and the feet and the body grew real big, and she couldn't run. But she had a deep, and her tail would drag on the ground, and she would go, ooh. And it really just scared people because they were like, "What the hell is that?" It was like an alligator dog or something. Yeah, that's why I don't have pets today, and it's probably good for the pets.
You got enough stories to last a lifetime.
High quality point.
Before we go, and as if we need any more levity, it's time for Yogi's Jewels and our words of inspiration. So negativity is like cancer. It can kill. So inhale positivity and exhale that negativity. Inhale the positivity. Exhale the negativity. I thank you all so much. You guys.
I think I just saw some 420 come out.
Myra, please enjoy your Shangri-La, your vacation spot.
Very much so.
If anybody deserves it, you do. After a year of living with the ladybug, Stephen Hill, love you. And tomorrow night, Sunglasses and Soul Music.
Dinah Ross Supremes, Dinah Ross Solo. We just go with Miss Ross.
You know who's going to be there. That's right. So make room for Yolanda Starks White, okay?
Yeah,
all right, everybody.
VIP.
And Saturday night.
Have a great day.
I'm sorry, Saturday night, Channel 48.
Oh yeah, Channel 48, Heart and Soul, Heart to Heart with Stephen Hill. One of my favorite young artists, Seven Streeter. I have a conversation with Seven Streeter.
Oh, I love her. Okay.
Seven is a bubbly personality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, see you tomorrow with George
Bye-bye.
Wallace.
Stay safe, everyone. Take care.
Please.
He can tell you about their first dance, but he can't remember my name. I'm his daughter.
Half of all black families are impacted by Alzheimer's, but we don't know why. At HSC, we are investing in a new research study to find solutions for your family. To join the research study, visit blackalzbrainstudy.com or call 817-735-2963.